So this video is just a quick update to the channel and an update to the FF18. So I got most of the stuff painted. I didn't get the side panels painted just because of the weather. When it was warm enough out to paint, it was rainy and too humid, and now that it's dried out, it's cold. It was below 30 degrees this morning, so it's too cold to paint. Decals, I got all of those decals put on because I painted that. I have the stripe on the hood, which says Sears Craftsman. The stripe on the hood, a little difficult to do. There's a little bit on the other side where it kind of shrunk because of the cold, and yeah, there's a little gap there. It's a little messed up. I don't have that decal, so that one's stuck like that. Steering wheel decal, I think I can buy those. I didn't buy one just yet. Seat, can't do anything about the seat. These seats, from what I can tell, this design was really only on these tractors, because I think the older ones for the Sears, they were smooth, and they said Sears on the back, at least as far as the high back seats go. And then as far as newer Craftsmans go with the GT20s, they say Craftsman across the back. So, and like I'd be able to find an untorn seat. And this tractor's, I mean, there's other stuff wrong with this tractor. It's not worth the seat, the money and time for an untorn seat. But I didn't get the rims painted yet. That was one of those things, unfortunately. But besides that, I think the silver came out really good. I think it matches really well compared to like the dashboard. I mean, on this camera you can't really see a difference. Like you can from that metal to the dashboard, just because the dashboard I didn't paint, so that's just a faded silver. From places I did have, like underneath that panel, the silver, it matched really well. If I can step out here without tripping over mower decks and stuff. I mean, we go block the sun. It looks really good, I think. I am getting everything ready for the winter though, so I got it all put back together. I'm gonna take this and the Ford. I forgot to mention the Ford last time. I did have the Ford longer than I've had the FF18. There's a bad glare because of the sun. Because morning yet, well, yeah, still morning. I'm gonna take those out back behind the garage for the winter, just because they're kind of in the way here. And then, as you probably have seen, I got another tractor. This is a Simplicity Sunstar 20. So, I mean, it's a pretty good tractor. Really built really heavy. I think they weigh almost as much as the FF18. Which, considering this is a normal sized garden tractor, I think is pretty good. This one's not in the best of shape. I think it was in a building and a building fell on it just because of the dents and the way the fenders are bent down. But power steering, the double brakes, hydrostatic, hydraulic lift, pretty standard stuff. The double brakes is the one thing. And the power steering, I said if I bought another garden tractor, it would have to have either double brakes or power steering, and this one has both. So that's good. I did use the double brakes because I do have a rototiller for it. It is in a back shed. Sorry, shaking the camera there. I did put it in a shed behind the garage. And underneath that plastic bag is the mower deck, just to keep the moisture off of it, because it's already pretty crusty on the top around the pulleys and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do about that just because of this. But one thing I will say, the spindles need work. You can probably see in there that one's a little off. It needs bushings. But this side's the worst side. You really can't tell because I actually put grease in it, unlike what probably the people who bought it originally did. But if you look, this should be flush with this, like perfectly straight up and down. And as you can tell, it's sticking off the side here pretty far. And it's, yeah, the angle doesn't exactly match. So this one might be too far gone for bushings. I'll try best I can. The other one I think I can fix with bushings, so I did find bushings to buy for those. I just need to buy them, have them shipped here. Man, it's cold out. Well, not so much anymore, but Anyways, that side might be a little too far gone. I'll try. I do have another tractor, another Sunstar I'm buying it's from the same guy. He got them as a package deal when he bought them, so I bought this one. The other one is actually in better shape, but the previous owners blew up the engine on it, he said, and it was like a brand new engine, so that's unfortunate, but same thing, Sunstar, 20 horsepower. One thing is hydraulic cylinder not leaking, which is like there's no leaks on it, which is really good. The front end's not greasy, but that's also a bad thing. That's probably why it's not greasy, and why the front end's worn out is because they never greased it. But like I said, double brakes. If I can get this off, I did use the double brakes when I was back putting the rototiller in the back shed. Everything's wet now because the frost is melting, and there it's dripping off. Yeah, I used the double brakes to turn sharper because I don't know if it's because of how much play is in the front end because of those bushings. It doesn't turn very sharp, just the way it is, which is unfortunate, but there's that. This engine, yeah, it's, from what I can tell, the original engine. I think, yeah, the CH20S. Some of these pieces, these plastic pieces for the gauges are broken. That one's MIA. It's decided to just leave the premises, but I don't know, it's probably down in there somewhere. It's gone. I can't do anything about those. But this one I'm going to be doing some work on. Runs decent. I think it has some electrical glitches, just because sometimes it wants to shut off randomly, like it loses all power. So I think some of the neutral, like some of the safety switches aren't 100% there. I'm still trying to figure out that lever, how that lever's supposed to work. I feel like something's loose or wrong with that, just because I don't think it's supposed to be like that in low range. When it's in high range, it looks how I feel like how the lever should be. But in low range, yeah, it's a little iffy, but it does have really nice tires on it. Like really good tires. They got some really good tread on them yet. So those will last for a long time. The other one obviously has tires. He said those tires are loaded. I have no way of telling if they. I'm taking his word on it. It's not like I don't trust him. I do trust him. It's just I have no way of telling that they're loaded. So he says they do. So that's what they are. The one thing it is missing is the plastic battery cover. So it's just basically a big piece of plastic that covers the top of the battery, and it also has it's kind of a weird shape, but it more or less just is it covers the battery, so it's like a dust cover for all this stuff in here, and it ducts the air from those vents down into here. So because right now this thing will suck air from anywhere it can, where with that plastic piece on there, it would actually duct it through those vents, or through those screens. That's just something Simplicity did. I guess it would work in theory, because rather than sucking stuff from underneath, from in here, it's sucking from up on the top, so it would keep the air cleaner. I mean, I don't really know much about these tractors. People really like them. In my personal opinion, I think people pay way too much money for these. The same thing as John Deere's. Like, I'd buy a John Deere 140 or a 318 garden tractor, but I think it's ridiculous to pay like $2,000, like $1,200, $2,000 for a 40-year-old garden tractor. That's not even like, brand new. It's like, it's used, it has high hours, it's greasy, it's oily. Well, not necessarily high hours, but still, it's like, I think the thing is, they're just not, there's nothing about these that, in my opinion, makes them worth a ton of money. Like, yes, I understand it's a hydrostatic garden tractor, so that's would make it worth a little more, the double brakes, the power steering, but I don't think it's worth, like, spending $2,000 on a garden tractor, just because, like, with this one, I'm gonna have to put money into it, so they're not worth half of what people will pay for them. Like, people go crazy over these. But I mean, they are good tractors. I just personally don't think they're worth what some people are willing to pay for them. But that's that. So yes, with the 20 horsepowers, they do have the rear PTO, at least up to this point. I guess if you got 3-point, which this one doesn't have a 3-point, but if you got a 3-point, I guess it would add a drop box at the back here. Oh, there's some manufacturing numbers. But the rototiller pins onto that. There's the lift for the rototiller. Teeth are worn on it. Didn't do much with it. I kind of got the tractor, haven't done much with it. It needs some work, but like the FF18, that's going to go behind the Ford, that's going to go behind the garage, just so it's out of the way, not kind of here in front of the garage in the way. And so also they're not at the sides where they'd be in the way of like snow falling off the roof of the garage, because that would be pretty bad. But yeah, and then the simplicity, I might keep this because I'm looking at buying a blade for it, depending how much it is. Oh, there's a mail vehicle down at neighbor's house, if that's that beeping. So this video's, I think I've made this go a little longer than I was planning on, so I think I'll cut it here. I hope you guys have a good day. See you later.